Hey folks, Will Brink here at brinkzone.com, and prior video I discussed why medical doctors are often not terribly reliable sources of nutritional information, and if you didn't check that out you can click right here and watch that video, so I'm not going to rehash that. At the end of that past video I promised that the next conversation would be talking about nutritionists and why by and large many people come away, well, disappointed in the information they get from nutritionists, and why doctors are often not reliable is fairly cut and dry, but with nutritionists it's a much more nuanced issue, much more nuanced conversation. It's not a black and white thing, but I'm going to try to cover some of the major reasons. Just start off with programs. I understand most nutrition programs and most colleges are extremely conservative, and by conservative, we can either mean literally conservative to really out of date. A lot of the nutrition professors tend to be very, very conservative, and frankly, sometimes just really out of date, and really haven't looked at a study in decades. And you have to understand that nutrition is a very rapidly evolving science, probably more so than a lot of other topics, a lot of other sciences out there. And it is changing rapidly just due to a accelerated understanding of nutrition and human biology and physiology and that type of thing. Now, there are some progressive programs and there are some very progressive professors for sure, but you have to understand they're definitely in the minority. The vast majority of nutrition programs out there putting out nutritionists are very conservative, often working with very outdated textbooks or highly conservative textbooks, if I want to say it nicely. And so that's right from the get-go, they're sort of behind the eight ball from their education. Now, another thing you really need to appreciate about, again, most nutritionists is that their focus is not really on the topics that most you or I might be that interested in. I mean, their focus is often in clinical settings. They might be working in a hospital, they might be working in geriatrics or that type of thing. So you have to understand that their basic focus, again, through the programs that come out, are often not targeted maybe at the populations that are watching this video, let's say, or going to my website or reading an exercise magazine type of thing. And another reason is you also have to understand that the average nutrition degree is a 4-year degree. I mean, it's an undergrad degree, and in the sciences there are very few sciences where you are considered at an advanced level of expertise with a 4-year degree. For the most part, you'll see MSRDs, people that tend to go on to higher degrees, MS level, PhD level type of thing. And again, that doesn't automatically make them great at what they do or highly knowledgeable, but it certainly means a more advanced education. Remember, the basic nutrition degree, the 4-year degree, is a solid grounding basics of nutrition. And nutrition is again, a science unto itself. And in your 4 years, you're going to learn all the basic stuff about nutrition. You're going to do your internships at probably something that is more medically based. And you really have to take it on yourself as a nutritionist when you graduate to learn let's say, the most up-to-date data, to understand the nuances of what you were taught. I do find maybe a drawback to nutritionists as a rule is a lot of them don't tend to be very curious. So that is to question what they were taught, to realize that a lot of what they were taught, again, is very conservative, sometimes frankly out of date, and they need to go do the homework themselves. I would say that the better nutritionists I know, and again, there are some very good nutritionists, the ones that I have known have always been those that saw their education as a basic fundamental teaching of nutrition, and they really had to go do their own homework after that to be really up to date as it comes to nutrition, and much less supplements. I mean, supplements would be a whole other topic. Remember, nutritional supplements are not taught in depth in nutrition, and they are generally not viewed positively. So it's a pretty tough hump to overcome as a nutritionist, that when you are going to have to understand that's what you're being taught, something that's pretty biased, and you have to decide when you come out to go look into that. The wonders of the internet, again, I think have changed a lot of this. You don't find a lot of medical doctors or a lot of nutritionists or a lot of any profession coming out just buying everything they were taught as gospel, because they know they can basically go research this stuff and will find data, and they will find experiences, and they will find other professionals that have a very different experience and different view and a different conclusion to what they're being taught. So as I promised, this is not a simple issue. Why most nutritionists are not maybe up to the level of knowledge that one would obviously hope and expect. I have found myself, unfortunately, the vast majority of nutritionists are somewhat disappointing in this area, and I do think it really does fall on them ultimately to understand that base 4-year knowledge, and is basically, that's what it is. They need to then step out. And remember, I think a lot of professional degrees, most people would tell you that 2-year, 4-year, whatever they did not prepare them to practice. They, anybody lawyer would tell you they came out of law school, they weren't ready to practice law. They had a lot of work to do after that. Any doctor would tell you once he came out of medical school, he was certainly not prepared to practice medicine and so forth. So I do have to put some of this blame back on the nutritionists. I mean, by definition, this is supposed to be their area of expertise. And so I think, again, the blame kind of meets somewhere in the middle between the basis of the education that they receive, I think could be a bit better in a lot of areas, and I do think they, as a group, don't tend to be particularly research-oriented, curiosity-oriented to really go look into it. And the ones that are, and they do exist, can be quite good. But it is a real uphill battle. I mean, again, I've had debates not fairly recently with PhD-level nutrition researchers that have told me that excess whey protein was going to damage people's kidneys and so on. So that is the reason. Hopefully, I think I've covered the major important reasons why a large percentage of nutritionists are not actually great sources of nutrition, at least in the topics that a lot of people, again, that would be watching this video, that go to read magazines and stuff, are really interested in. Again, for very basic nutrition, they're fine. For working in hospital settings, they're generally fine. But I think this is such a growing and fast-growing area of research, of knowledge, that it's actually fairly difficult to keep up. And I spend all day researching this stuff, and I find people send me new studies all the time that I didn't know about, and I learned something new. So I'm not trying to be too hard on nutritionists. This is not a nutritionist bashing video, but it is trying to, again, enlighten what the realities are of the experience a lot of people have with nutritionists. So I hope that helps, and you might want to subscribe. You see, I always give away the inside science-based objective information, and I'll see you all on the Brink Zone.